DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
You're tuned in to DJNTV Live with your host, Brian Esred.
And we are live. We are there. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to our world here. Here we go. We've got the signal. For some reason, it was a little bit gimpy here. I've got to get our video set here better for the show so we can see everything. All right. Wonderful. We are now good. Good evening and welcome out there in the internet world. We are on Facebook. We are on YouTube talking to you tonight. As this is one of our shows we do about every 2 months or so, somewhere in that ballpark. We have a variety of topics that have come from social media pages. I went and I scour different pages, getting different questions from people that I think would be questions that our esteemed experts could answer for you in an in-depth way.
Oh, who's on the show?
Brian is.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, Brian is. So
we'll get a credible answer.
Yeah, we'll get a credible answer this time. And maybe we should we have Brian go first tonight?
No, it's better when Jay goes first.
I can do my Brian impersonation. That would be the album that Prince put out in 1971 that only I have a copy of.
By the way, if you were watching us on
Prince
YouTube,
TV.
please like the video.
Yes. Oh, the timer's up.
The timer's up. We have got our questions. We want to get right into it because we've got folks who get excited.
Time's a wasting.
Get excited about this. Stopwatch.
We can alternate who goes first.
Either way, bro.
Okay, so our first question. The situation was the person needed more sound for their wedding for a larger room. And they were wondering if they should put more speakers up by the stage where they were at or if they should move speakers around the room.
Well, I would first ask, what did they need more sound for? Example, I've done weddings with up to 350 people with two 15-inch tops and a 12-inch EV ZXL A1 sub under the table. And then about 40 feet away on a wall had a 12-inch powered speaker. That was for cocktail, dinner, toasts, and then dancing. The client adamantly wanted the dance floor full and everyone else to be able to speak. So at that wedding, I was complimented on not having too much sound.
Sure.
I think sound is a tricky thing. When you put two speakers on either side of a table in a room that holds 600 people, will they hear everything? The answer is it depends. And it depends on what it is they need to hear. Cocktail, dinner, speeches. If everyone's quiet, yes. Do you need a bigger system? Well, it's relative to what you're doing. One, I find the bigger the system, the more frightened the elderly get. Two, no one has ever, and I mean this ever, in 23 years said to me, you were good. You just weren't loud enough. Never heard that. So whenever I hear this system is good for 150 people, this is good for 200, I always kind of laugh because 200 what? Dancing? No, it's not enough. 200 in a room? Yes. When dancing comes, I personally, and if you want to steal this, take it. I pride myself on saying to my clients, your mother and grandmother will be able to speak at a normal tone of voice 10 feet off the dance floor once dancing gets going. Bodies will absorb the sound. I'm only projecting to a 10 by 20, a 10 by 10, whatever the space is. You do not need to be loud in the back of a big room. I've done events that would most of the people, and I know the level of intelligence and professionalism of the fans of DJNTV, they would be astonished if they heard the systems I use for big rooms with big groups. 500 people running 4 speakers and 2 subs. Not enough? It was perfect because people that aren't dancing don't want to hear the music loud. People that are dancing want to hear it loud on the dance floor. You're only projecting 20 or 30 feet. So I tend to think we as DJs overthink sound. Yes, there's too little sound, but oftentimes The only way to find that out is through trial and error or to understand what it is that you own. When I used 15-inch powered speakers, I never used anything else. 100 people, 150, 200. Never had an issue, never had a complaint, because all they need to hear is speeches, toasts, cocktail, and dinner. Dancing is its own animal. You're only filling a small space. So I would like to know more information about the DJ that felt they weren't loud enough and what their definition of loud is. If it needs to be loud in the back, they're way too loud in the front and middle. I mean, that's just my opinion. I'll even give Brian an extra 38 seconds.
No, actually, I already given you your 38 seconds because 4 minutes is total time.
I was supposed to do 2 minutes for you.
So I'll just say that Jay nailed it.
Damn it.
He did a really good job. I will say that if you're doing something like a school dance event or something, yeah, you're going to need a bigger system. But if you're doing things like wedding receptions, corporate events, where you do have conversation areas as well as areas where there is dancing, if it's not quite enough in the back, a little bit of rear and fill is good. You don't need anything obnoxious, just a little bit of rear and fill. I've used the Maui 5 Go back there. It works really well for that. And it's something I started doing this year.
So
Yeah.
2. So I'm at 2. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, two. I should probably should have.
I got excited when I saw the 4 come up. I'm like, oh,
But
this
no, I mean, the truth be told, as soon as you started talking, I'm like, Jay's answering this question perfect. He's
Yeah.
saying everything I told him to say.
Yeah. I think we all overthink sound. We really do.
So, yeah, perfect.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Next one. Would you ever use non-powered speakers? Basically, a speaker with a separate amplifier in this day and age, or is that something that's just in the past for you? Jay, you can start.
Not for what I do anymore.
Oh, okay, Brian, you go first.
Yeah, well, I thought we'd alternate it.
Okay, sorry.
Not for what we do anymore. Part of the reason, part of the problem with passive speakers, which is non-amplified speakers, is that you have to match the amplifier up with the speakers. You have to do things like match up the impedance. You have to find the program power for wattage on the thing. So you have to have a headroom. When powered speakers became popular, I was so happy. I mean, when I first started doing YouTube videos, I was still using a passive system, and most people were. And I spent so much time in videos trying to explain to people how to match up power speakers and amplifiers. And to be very candid, I was relatively new to the concept because I used to blow stuff up all the time and I didn't understand why. I was usually underpowering my speakers, and after having my cabinets repaired several times, I figured out what the problem really was. So powered speakers are so nice because not only are they lightweight, not only are they just convenient as can be, you don't have to carry around extra stuff, but the amplifier inside of the speaker is matched up to the speaker for headroom and program and all that stuff. So no, I don't think there's any reason to use passives anymore. The only time I use passives is in my car stereo. The head unit powers them. Otherwise, there's no reason to.
True.
I yield my time to the gentleman from Temecula.
Thank you, sir. I got really lucky. I did not own a van in the late 90s. So when I went to buy my own first system, even though I was running a multi-op on boats and things like that, the store where I used to shop, and they actually just retired about 6 months ago, said, you know, you should look at powered speakers. So I bought a pair of DAS 15A, which stood for active, powered 15-inch speakers. I think I paid maybe $1,300 at the time. They were 200 watts each, 150 on the low, 50 on the high, and they were incredible. They sounded great. They were maybe 45, 50 pounds. They weren't that heavy, but I didn't have an amp. So with a regular car, I could put them in the back seat, load my coffin, put speaker stands, and then I had the whole trunk and front seat to put other stuff. So it's been so long since I ran amps. In fact, the last amp I ran was a Precedent AB900, which weighs as much as the moon. It is insane to move. And Brian's right. We were running like the old PV, the plywood speakers that weighed everything, had the horn on top, and then an 18-inch or 15-inch sub on the bottom. We had Black Widows. Black Widows on their own weighed like 25 pounds. So if you're the audiophiles I know will say, if you're doing live sound, you have to have amplification, because with powered speakers, you're doing, processed music that's running 1-to-1. But with live sound, you need 1,000 watts to cover 500. You know what? If you want to carry amps and speakers, be my guest. Here's my argument. If I have 2 powered speakers and one blows, I have 1 powered speaker. If I have 2 powered speakers and 1 amp, and the amp blows, I have silence.
Yep.
So in today's technology, with the way speakers are, I don't understand why, as a DJ, you wouldn't embrace that. Nightclubs run amps. They have delays, they have crossovers, they have all this stuff. But as far as us as DJs, run powered, run the ones you like, turn your back to the wall, listen to them, and go with that.
It's interesting. I'll just add a little bit here. Sonic. Did anybody run Sonic speakers?
Oh yeah, yep. I had the sub in the top where it was plugged into the sub, and then it jumped right to the top. And
Sonic is like right down the road for me. They still exist. They're in Cudahy, Wisconsin, and you've been to my house, John. Highway 32. You go south a little bit, you're in Cudahy.
Mm-hmm.
You've been to my house too.
Yeah, we both have.
So you go south a little bit on my street, you end up in Cudahy, and that is where
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah. Well, no, he was north and west a little bit. But that's where Sonic is. And back in the old days, they used to have this thing where it was like, oh, you can get RCF loaded Sonics. It's like, what's RCF? Well, you could get them. It's an extra $50. It's like, it sounds better. So people would just get them. We didn't know what RCF meant because we were from Milwaukee. But yeah, that was a thing. The Sonics. That was a thing. And I will also add that I noticed at NAMM, and I was kind of paying attention to this because I hear a lot of people talk about, oh, well, if you have a band or, concerts and stuff, then in that case you run amp racks and things. I didn't see any passive speakers at NAMM. Even the big touring stuff, had built-in amplifiers.
Yeah, they've got built-in on the back. Yeah, you see that.
The main stage in the middle ran amps. I saw that setup.
Did it?
They ran an old system. VR system. They ran the VR.
Must have been an old system because everything that I saw, FBT, RCF, the big heavy hitter guys, everything was active. Even the array.
When you get to a certain level of array, it goes passive. Like on the huge, like the EDC type stuff.
Stuff been.
Could be.
But I think that's for tuning. You can't tune a powered speaker.
Not too well.
You can tune a guitar, but you can't tune a fish.
Thank you, REO Speedwagon.
You're welcome.
All right, next one. So they want to know, you get the 2-wheel hand trucks out there, convertible hand trucks, furniture movers, different things. What would you recommend a DJ get for moving their gear around?
I did a video several years ago, and I called the video "The Greatest Piece of Gear I've Ever Purchased." And the video circled around one simple thing: the rock and roll cart. I've used the Grundorf, which is a foldable, just like a flat square, like a furniture mover, but with a handle. I've used regular furniture moving. I've used dollies. If you don't want to end up a cripple, buy a rock and roll cart. It folds up. It sits in the front seat of any car you can own. I bet I could fit it in the front seat of a Miata. I'd bet any amount of money. And it will carry everything and anything. I moved, and at one point, put a refrigerator on my rock and roll cart. At another point, I folded down, extended it, folded one end down, and put a couch. And then pushed the couch out on a rock and roll cart. It's the best money you'll spend.
And now, Jay, those are typically anywhere from $100 to $150 more than you could find some other options at your big box store. Is it worth that additional investment?
Yes, all day long. Yes. The rock and roll cart that I'm using today is 8 years old.
Wow.
So over those 8 years, how many dollies would I have broken, snapped, had to put air in the tire, or something else? Whereas this rock and roll cart will go anywhere at any time and is flawlessly always ready.
Brian, what are your thoughts?
I'm with Jay. I've used a lot of different types of carts. I've used things where you had to inflate the tires. I've used this Milwaukee brand cart, which is a pretty heavy duty cart. You used to be able to buy them at Home Depot for like $200. And I've used the Groove Gear cart that kind of supposed to turn on a dime. real cool technology. There's a couple problems though. One is weight, and the other is blowing out bearings in the wheels. I will say with the rock and roller cart, the disadvantage is they don't roll as well as many of the other carts that I've used because the wheels don't have bearings in them. They're just almost like a big wheel, like you get when you were a kid, like a toy car or something. There's no bearings involved, but the weight is wonderful. They collapse, and yeah, you can put a lot of gear on those things. You're not going to screw them up. They're built really well.
Side note, John, real quick on the rock and roll carts, always upgrade to the wider, thicker wheels on the front. I had the thinner wheels, and I'm in the process of upgrading those. They're still fine, and I've still used them, but I'm doing more and more events where I've got to go through grass or dirt, and you need the wider wheel, and you're good to go. Yeah,
I've got I think it's an R14 cart, and it's got the wide wheels on it.
Yeah, you're right. I think I have an R12, and it came with the standard thinner wheels, but you can upgrade. In fact, if you don't mind me making a recommendation, NLFX Pro has them, and you can call them at any time during business hours, and they'll be happy to help you out.
And what's really kind of cool is they will actually have the carts at Photo Booth Expo coming up here, or at Photo Booth Expo DJNTV show, so you'll be able to go and touch and feel and pick the one you want.
Yeah.
And
come by the chill room, and Brian and I will be happy to point you in the direction of which one to buy.
Yeah, they should put some in the chill room. But no, they're really good. That's the cart that everybody should probably look at. I mean, for what we do as mobile DJs,
it fits the bill so perfectly.
I can usually, not always, but I can usually put all of my gear on the cart with one load.
Yeah. Excellent. Usually. Next topic. Somebody was referring to some killer deals on wireless microphone systems that they could find on Amazon, which they were referring to a receiver with 4 microphones. Their question was, is it worth the extra $1,000 to be buying a name brand compared to the Amazon $188 4 microphone device?
Brian, you go.
Oh, the one that I like right now is $200. By the way, I don't think anybody needs a $1,000 microphone unless you're. I don't know what you'd be doing for a $1,000 microphone. I like a nice guest microphone that is a brand name I can rely on that is tried and true. LD Systems has the U300 right now. It's $200. So if I hand it to a best man and he's drunk and he drops it and pops the capsule in it or whatever, I'm not going to lose my marbles about it. For me, a wireless microphone is a guest microphone. I don't personally use a wireless microphone at the booth because my mic is mounted. Well, I don't run around and conduct the cha-cha slide anymore. I'm just not built for that anymore.
Yeah.
So if I'm on the mic, I'm standing behind the booth. I have a gooseneck coming up so I can push buttons and talk at the same time. Otherwise, I'd have to set the microphone down, then press play, and that sucks. So it's on a gooseneck, and it's wired. I don't have to take it anywhere with me. But even at that, I mean, yeah, I don't see a reason to buy a $1,000 microphone anymore, guys, because it's kind of like, to me, it's like a toothbrush. I'm not going to share my toothbrush. I'm not going to share a microphone. I got a guest microphone. It's wireless. Take it, drop it, throw it across the room. I don't care. It's $200. I can build it into the price if I want to. So that's, I think, the way I want to go now. I don't know about these off-brand Amazon ones. I don't know. But what I can tell you is that there are name brands out there that are at really attractive price points that you can step into now. Nice.
Jay, what's your thoughts?
I'll be honest with you. I read a lot of the posts on Facebook that say, I just bought this $75 mic. I used it the other night. I've got a video. Look, I can walk 400 feet. It never drops signal. And I have absolutely all the faith in the world that they're telling the truth and that everything they say is a fact. But the issue becomes this. If everyone on Facebook is not DJing your event, and you are, you need to buy the best possible mic you can get your hands on. And this is why. 2003, March, so 17 years ago, I had a wedding at a hotel, and I was using a Shure Vocal Pro microphone that I'd bought for $150. Microphone, no antenna, 2 little antennas on the base, 1 channel. The client had the toast during dinner, and they kept breaking up.
Oh, yeah.
And they broke up, and they broke up. And the client was a little high maintenance to begin with. And she came back to me and said, I'm so upset with you. We haven't even gotten to dancing yet. We're at dinner. And I say, I'll make it up to you. End of the night, they danced a lot. They had a good time. I'm like, dodged a bullet. She comes up and says, I'm still really upset about this. I want a partial refund. I said, okay, what seems fair to you? She's like, half. You ruined that. And, well, you know what? Okay. So I had to refund her at the time. I think I charged her $900 for the wedding. So I'd refund her $450.
Right. Mm-hmm.
My logic was, if this happens again and the client says this again, I'm out $450. I bought the Audio-Tech 3000. I then replaced that Audio-Tech 3000 in 2016 because it's stripped with a new one. I'll replace that one because of channel changing at the PBX show with Ben Stowe with a new Audio-Tech. If it's for your clients, for a ceremony, for something important, you damn well better not have it break down. So I don't think 1,000. I think I'm going to spend probably $400 on mine. If you can't trust it 100%, upgrade.
Sounds good. All right, let's move to the next topic, gentlemen. Where did it go? The one I wanted to get to.
Technology's come a long way with those things the last couple of years.
Oh, it really has. It absolutely has. But again, you have to trust 100% when you turn your back or you have a lav pack on and the minister turns, you can't have that breakout.
Yeah. No, 6 years ago I would have been with you on that. But the way things are now, it's just different.
Yeah, I'm not doubting it.
Speaking of technology, the next one. With today's better technology and such, would you recommend going back to see your CD collections and re-ripping the music in today using today's technology as opposed to what we had 15 years ago when we started ripping our music in? Jay, I think you're first on this one.
Okay. John, let me just reach behind me here as I come up with... Oh, there. That one's for you, Brian. I don't know if you can make that out.
Yep.
Sweet.
And, of course, we have the 20th anniversary here. I don't have too much light. I'm actually going through old CDs that I ripped and now want to rip them to hard drives. And the biggest downside for me is that none of the tags are showing up. So I'm getting track 1, track 2, track 3. But, you know, my wife's like, you going to get rid of those? I'm like, no. She's like, why not? I'm like, you know, you never know. Even though streaming's on the cusp, you just never know. Maybe it'll come back to CDs someday. I think as a DJ, I have a real phobia with ever getting rid of music. Like, once you own it, you should keep it. But also, I look at the tracks I have and I go, ooh, someday somebody's going to want to hear this weird version of something. No, they're not. You know, I talk to DJs all the time who are very successful, and I'm like, how many songs do you bring to a gig? And they're like 18,000, 14,000, 22,000. I'm like, I'm bringing like 60,000 songs. They're like, why? You're not playing all of them. I'm like, but that's part of being a DJ.
I have them.
Like, you can't have enough music. So I think even with the technology change, you know what? I like keeping them at arm's length. You know, I mean, they're right there. I don't know if you can make that out, but there's.
But Jay, would you re-rip them to get them at a higher bit rate or at a better compression than you did the first time you went through them?
All day long.
Okay.
Yeah, for that end of the technology, yes, and that's the downside. I have those MP3 CDs that have got like 96 kilohertz bits, and it's like, ugh.
Brian, what's your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I think it's a great idea to go back and re-rip that collection. When I was first ripping stuff through, I was probably ripping them at like a 120 bit rate. Then as I learned that, you know, 320 kilobytes was much better for MP3 format, I started doing that. But I can still go back. There are songs like recently there was one, Fishing in the Dark by Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. I ripped it in years ago, and every time I go to play it, it sounded just awful. And finally, I just ended up downloading a fresh copy of it because I couldn't find my CD.
Sure.
Probably in storage at my mom's house or something. But yeah, I think it's a good idea to keep those around. and re-rip them. Right now, I know people are using things like even FLAC. Now, I don't know a lot about this technology. I need to learn about it, but there's going to be some file format that's going to come out that's going to be real easy to use. It's not going to take up a lot of space, and it's going to be really good. Do you know who? Oh boy, Herbie Jr. is Herb Pump Powers. He was the guy who used to do all of the cutting of the records, like the masters. Like he would actually take the vinyl or the wax, and he would cut it, master the record. And for a lot of people, Shannon's Let the Music Play was Herb Pump Powers. There were several,
Chicago?
a lot of, huh?
Was he Chicago?
No, New York.
Okay.
In fact, the mastering service was above Studio 54. It just happened to be there in that same building. Now, Herb is like one of the... Everybody wanted Herb to cut the records because he was able to get the best bass out of a record. He knew how to make those grooves happen. Everybody wanted Herb to master stuff. I know Herb. He's a good guy. I talked to him. And he says that to this day, the best file format ever is MP3. It's wonderful. You're going to get the best range. I'm sorry, CD. CD format's the best file format there's ever been, as far as sound goes, and bass hits and highs and mids and all that. And MP3, he thinks is absolutely horrid. He thinks it's just a waste of time. Just throw it away. It's junk. But I mean, I guess there's something to be said about that. If you have a store-bought CD, like a legitimate, CD, not a burnt CD, but a legitimate CD, it's the best you're going to get. I mean, yeah, you can get remastered ones and things like that, but that's a fantastic, sound quality. In fact, when you're testing speakers, when you're testing speakers, I would recommend that you use a CD player, because you're going to get the best sound. That a lot better than MP3 or streaming on YouTube or something. I went a little long, sorry.
Yep, no problem. Let's jump to the next one. The talk was about ceremony sound systems, and people were wondering what would be the basics that you would offer in a ceremony sound system so that you could add it to your DJ system. And I think, Brian, you are up first.
Yep.
You can do a powered speaker. I mean, you know, the basics. You mean?
Yeah, basics, basically to get started. So I can then say, I am now offering this service.
Okay. Where I live, it's a little different than maybe where other people live, because it's very popular for people to get married on an 18th hole of a golf course or in the middle of a cornfield or something. Barn weddings are big. I think they're that way where John lives as well. So I've been doing a lot of battery-powered systems. I put something together, I think about a year or two ago, where I'm using the Maui 5 Go, which is a battery-powered column array. And then I'm using the Colorado Sun and Light lithium-ion power pack with the wireless microphone. It's a DC power pack. Runs the wireless mic receiver for like 12 hours. Mic stand with the wireless mic on it. And then I'm actually using a tablet, Amazon Fire HD 10 tablet, hacked with the Google Play Store, running the DJ program. It's very small, it's compact, it's completely battery powered, and very lightweight, very portable, does fine for ceremony. I mean, because people are sitting, right? Mm-hmm. And they're not dancing. You don't have to worry about pushing sound through people. They're sitting down, they're hearing everything really well through an array system. I think it's a good way to go. But, you know, ultimately, I mean, if you've got power at your disposal, a 12-inch powered top is a good thing to have too. And you can use absolutely a mixing board or a controller with a laptop. But just to make it simple, I think for ceremony specifically, because you're just playing a couple tracks, I think you can do this off of a tablet with a program like DJ, and just some basics like that. I think you can do real well. You can add mics too, by the way.
Jay, what's your thoughts? Basics for a ceremony system.
I have done the same system for ceremonies since 1998. In 1998, it was a DAS 15A powered speaker. Do the ceremony, then lift the speaker and bring it in to the main system. And then in 2004, I bought a 12-inch powered speaker, had two CDJs and a DJM 400 with two mics. Then that moved over to a controller, but the single speaker never changed. 100% I set up behind everybody. So I'm projecting at the ceremony, not from the ceremony at the guests. I don't like the look of two speakers being on either side of the bride and groom. I also think the magic of what we do is often hidden. And this is something that Brian has heard of. Real quick, a lot of my systems are outside, and with wind, lavaliers tend to get a little pushy.
Yep.
So I have a lot of videos online about this. I set up one wireless mic with a windscreen about chest high to the bride and groom and the officiant. So when the three of them are standing there, the mic is dead center. They all speak. I'm way away so I can control the volume. It sounds great. You don't see the mic. When they kiss, it's not in their way. They're standing in front of it towards the guest, the officiant behind it. And I've done that for going on 23 years. And 100% have complimented, wow, it sounded good. It looked good. It wasn't, in their face. It wasn't ostentatious. It wasn't obnoxious. It wasn't anything. It's a microphone. It's one speaker. It's a controller, however you want to run it. And you just have one system. But I think only one speaker in the back going forward.
Excellent. Next topic, gentlemen. This whole DJ podium versus DJ table versus DJ booth. Is this podium thing a fad that's going to go away, or is this something that DJs should really be seriously looking into? And I believe, Jay, you are starting us?
Define podium. Like the old days, the 19-inch rack mount.
Podium, the podiums, Joe Bunn has a podium system out there. And then there's a few others that introduced them at NAMM. So. Right.
And I saw them, and they look good. I think it's all in what your presentation is. Facade, event table, podium, some sort of a club vibe thing. I look back at Steve Jones showing this stuff. Brian, what was that, 10 years ago, 11 years ago?
12, 13 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, where it was, check out the future, and we all kind of laughed. Well, Guess what? The future is now. I think you need to come up with the look that fits your level of confidence. If what you have in front of you, it's the old adage, if you put on a shirt, you walk out of the room and you go, how does this look? And you're not comfortable in it, it doesn't matter what anyone says. You're not going to be comfortable. You need to go with what makes you feel as though you're giving the best presentation. A facade, a cover, something to keep people from putting, I swore there, it got bleeped out, drinks on your table, to me is the way to go. Do you want a white facade? I know guys that use only black facades. They light up the white facade. You know what? I think the Joe Bunn setup looks very impressive. It looks very clean, very professional. If that's the look you want to portray, then go with that look.
Right.
No, it's not at a price point that everyone's going to buy it. So it's not like you may be the only guy in your market. If you feel that's your selling point, do it.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, I don't care what your appearance is. I don't care what your setup looks like. You either rock the party or you don't. Forget this bad setup pages and all that. Either you deliver or you do not deliver, regardless of your setup, regardless of the facade and the lights and the pretty spinning stuff. So focus more on that and then figure your look.
Brian, what are your thoughts?
Well, the podiums are interesting if that's all you need is a controller and a laptop. I like a little more utility. I like room to set things down that I might need to have there. And it might vary from event to event. So although Joe's podium might work perfect for some people, I don't think it's my solution.
Mm-hmm.
But like Jay said, I mean, you got to use what works for you. I think that as DJs, we are pretty much the only people who really care about this crap.
Yeah, they're probably.
I don't think the general public has any opinion on it.
They think
does it sound good? Does it look reasonably good? I mean, the thing that I think a lot of people don't understand, or a lot of DJs don't understand, is that, yes, we see this stuff all the time. We're seeing it on social media. We're seeing our own setups every single weekend. And I'll hear DJs saying things like, well, I need to get some different lights because my light show is getting a little boring. To who?
Yeah, to them.
Yeah.
who else besides you is seeing this on a constant basis? You see it every week, so it's like whatever, you're jaded. But someone in your audience may see it and say, "Oh my gosh, science fiction! This is amazing! I've never seen this before," because they haven't seen it before. So, I mean, it's one thing if you're doing repeat business with a client, or if you're doing something on a consistent basis at school or whatever, you might want to mix it up a little bit, not to be boring. But yeah, this table stuff or facade or podium or whatever works for you, whatever floats your boat. But I really don't think the customer has an opinion on it.
John, real quick, to jump in, Brian, excuse me. If you want to give somebody a leg up, go in your market, take a photo of the Joe Bun one, anything else you're considering, and go meet with the high-end wedding coordinators in your market and say, I'm considering buying one of these.
Right.
What's your feeling? And if 10 of them say, I love the Joe Bun one in black, buy that.
Sure, good idea.
If they all say, ooh, I don't like that. But I think you'll find that in your market, you can work with the right people because they'll appreciate that you're asking their opinion, but also that you're willing to spend the money on your appearance.
Good idea. Very good. Great tip.
That's why we're here.
Great tip.
Every day. Well,
that was worth the price of admission tonight, right there.
There you go.
Next topic. This one could be a fairly quick one. What would you charge for a retainer for a wedding?
It'll be a quick one. Have you met me, John? Come on.
I know I could answer the question, but
that's loaded. Here, I'll make this the simplest question of the night. 1/3 of the entire balance is due at the signing of the contract. The other 2/3 are due 7 days out from the event.
Excellent.
1/3. Yeah, done.
Brian?
Well, everybody's got their own opinion on this stuff. I do it the way I do it for a reason. And I didn't really fully understand the reason until the situation arose. I always tried to charge like 10-20% for just a deposit, because in the car business, what we learned was it doesn't really matter if it's $200 or $2,000. Money is glue. Once people put money down on something, they have like an emotional investment, and they take mental ownership of things once they have money on it. So the amount of money to me didn't matter that much. But the other reason I take a very small amount down, well, I had that stroke, as you know, and when I had it, it was not a big deal for people to take my events and get paid, because I hadn't collected all this money and spent it on lawn furniture, 6 months before the event. So it wasn't an issue to just go ahead and let people take events and take the balance, and they were very happy with the balance. The deposit was nothing. But that's me. That's me.
But the downside becomes if you're not charging enough in your market. Like if, let's say, just example, I'm $1,500, you're $1,000. You take $100 deposit. They meet me and they say, "Wow, we like him more." They're not that invested in you. So if they walk away from the 100,
I think you'd be surprised about that mental ownership that people take in things when they have money down on it.
But I also the amount of money. The other fact is true too, because at least then, if they decide towards the end of it, they're walking, you're at least sitting in a spot of, well, I've got something because I may not book that date again. And this is a discussion that could go on and on and on. But that's where I came up with the 1/3. Oh
yeah, Gus in here saying 25%. Joe's saying $200. I mean, it's all relative. Whatever you want to do, whatever you're comfortable with. I have my reasoning for doing what I do, and I didn't fully understand the reasoning. I was paranoid about it because I don't like to take payment for things I haven't done yet. I like to do the job and get paid for it. That's just me. So it's a deposit just as glue, just so they can take mental ownership of it. And then after I finish the job, then I get paid for it. And I never know what I'm going to add on to it or whatever. It's just how I do things.
Excellent.
But there's no right or wrong answer, but I do feel like that you should take some sort of deposit or retainer. Absolutely. Retainer. We should call it a retainer, right?
Yeah, that's what
take a
it's a retainer.
I suck at legal. I'm not an attorney. I don't play one on television. A retainer. Take some kind of retainer.
Let's jump to the next topic, guys. On a website, should I have a page on my website like things to ask a DJ or a frequently asked questions to ask when hiring entertainment. Are these things that you think should be on today's websites, or is this something that we just did back in the early 2000s to make ourselves feel good? I think we're starting, Brian. Yeah.
I think it depends on what it is. I have some things on my website, which, by the way, needs a complete redo because it looks like hell. It's like 6 years old. But I really tried to post something helpful. And it wasn't like, make sure your DJ has this and make sure your DJ does that. No, it was simply, don't put grandma in front of the speakers during dinner. You know, put your young friends there. It was those kind of tips are what I put on mine.
Sure.
And they were 5. Just, you know, no matter who you book, think about these things. And I don't recall what they all were, but I actually did a video on it, and I did a write-up on it, and I invited people to take that link and put it on their website if they'd like to. And so they didn't even have to write it. They could just click on it, and here are 5 things to help make your wedding a success. Whatever those 5 things were. Ultimately, you know, our job hasn't really changed that much. We play pre-recorded music for people. We put light shows up. Yeah, we do some talking on the microphone. We do some timeline creation. But ultimately, what really, I think, separates us today from others is how helpful we are. And if we can give helpful advice on our website, free helpful advice, I think that's very welcome and appreciated. But I think if you're just trying to write propaganda why you're awesome and somebody else might suck, I think that's a little dated.
Excellent.
Yeah,
I agree. Time.
Yeah, Jay?
I agree with Brian on that. I think there's enough information out there. And every time I check a DJ's website or look around, I find that whenever I see that section, it's always so angled at them. Now, I know it as a DJ reading it, but I have to think that as a customer, they probably realize it too. You know, because the questions aren't, you know, they're always the same thing. When should I hire my DJ? When we're available for your date. Some of our events, like, and then they go into something about them. It's, what should we look for in a DJ? Someone who's professional and answers questions on their website like this. Like, I think we're kind of past that. I think, you know, I mean, the better person to ask is the millennial bride getting married and say, what stood out on websites for you? Right. I think they go very quickly. I think a lot of it's done on their phone and they're not reading that shit. I mean, I'm sorry, but they're not. They're like, boom, like how much? Let's be honest. They get to the site and they go, this guy got recommended. How much? And even that's a dicey topic. But as far as answering the questions that nobody's asking, you know what? Put an article up. Put an article from bride.com or The Knot that says what you're supposed to ask your vendors. It might be better served. Plus, it'll at least get you a link to a major website, and that might force traffic. I don't know.
Yep.
I'm done.
Good. Our last one here, gentlemen, we've been zipping through here pretty quickly. The last one, there was a meme that was circulated this past week about stop playing line dances. Nick Spinelli did that. Let's discuss this. Line dances at your events. Are these a good thing or a bad thing, and why? And I think, Jay, I believe you're starting.
I've heard that name. I don't know who that guy is. I've heard the name.
Yeah, you get to see him. He's at Photo Booth Expo coming up here. But yeah,
he is.
I always envision it's Jeff Spicoli.
No, it's Nick Spinelli that did that.
I don't know why I always think Jeff Spicoli.
I think it's that similar name.
Yeah. Similar.
Yeah, no, you know what? It's cute and it's funny, but I mean, you're alienating 3/4 of, if not more, of the wedding DJs who at some point are going to play the wobble, the cha-cha slide, the shuffle, the electric slide, and then all the other songs that you can do those things to. You know what? I'll tell you what. I won't tell him what to do at his events. Don't tell me. So I don't think it's an issue of playing line dances. I think it's an issue of entertaining the crowd in front of you and doing what they want at the time. And if that means playing a song that they line dance to, go nuts. I did a wedding 3 weeks ago. No alcohol, very Christian. And the first song was Happy by Pharrell, and the second was Footloose. And they lost their minds to Footloose because they all line danced. So guess what? The rest of the night went country.
Yeah.
I did my famous Little John into Luke Bryan. Mm-hmm. They went crazy. That's, you know what? I won't tell you how to do your events any more than I'd ask you to tell me. I get why the meme got a little traction, but those of us that have been around for a while and do this for a living full time, you know what? It's a quick laugh, but the reality is you play to the crowd in front of you or you're not really being a DJ. Sorry.
Excellent. Brian?
The line dance is a tool, just like any other tool in your toolbox. And just because I own screwdrivers doesn't mean that I'm going to need a screwdriver for every project that I do. Most of the time, I'm not doing line dances early in the evening. Most of the time, I'm waiting till later in the evening. And I think sometimes when you do that, you can say to yourself, and your audience recognizes that I didn't need a line dance to get started. This DJ played other things and I enjoyed them, but now we're drunk and we're stupid. Let's do a line dance. There are other times when I do events where I cannot get people out on the dance floor, and the only thing Aunt Betty knows how to dance to is the electric slide. So they request it. For me to make a rule, one way or the other, to play line dances or not, I think is absolutely ludicrous. I was thinking about this because I'm, incidentally, writing my presentation for the mobile DJ meetup. I'm doing one called, I don't know, whatever John told me to call it. What was it?
You're creating the soundtrack.
Creating the soundtrack for your event. I've been working on this. I did version 1 and 2. I'm pretty happy with version 2 so far. But
it's all print.
I did, yeah, it's all print. I didn't include this in the presentation, or I haven't yet. But one thing I was thinking about was a wedding that I did one time where the groom absolutely did not want to hear any line dance songs. I mean, it was just a rule. It was unmovable. No line dance songs. So I go to the event. I've got all of these people there asking for line dances. And finally, I was like, you know what? He didn't want me to play any line dance songs. All right? And I got on the mic and I said this. Look, they don't want me to play any line dance songs, so I can't do it. However, there's nothing I can do to prevent you from line dancing to this next song. I put on Love Shack, and they did the electric slide to it. And it was perfectly legal, and the groom thought it was hilarious, and everybody had fun. So
I think if it's the client that says don't play line dance, then you don't. That to me, that's a separate question.
But could you really prevent people from doing the bus stop when you play?
Yeah, but that's why you have this. That's your, as a DJ, when they say no line dances, you say, okay, you're not going to play this, but you're going to play Get Jiggy With It because everyone is going to do the electric slide to it.
Right. So.
Well, no, that's how you get around it. You get on the mic and be like, yeah, screw the client, I'm doing this. Like,
right. Not so much.
Personally, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
no, I've done events before too.
The duality of us.
The groom was just like, do not play whatever it was. Cha-Cha Slide, I hate that song. I hate it. Well, I told him.
He supports us.
I said, look, I understand you hate it. I'm not a fan of either. I got to hear it a lot. But I would never play the song just to play it. I'm not that kind of guy. If it's appropriate, I'll play it. Having said that, that song is only about 3 minutes long. Chances are you're going to be outside having a cigarette or in the bathroom or something for at least 3 minutes sometime during the evening.
Sure.
How about I make sure you're not in the room when I play it? He said, that would be awesome.
That's good compromise.
So we did that.
Good way
we
to
actually said, okay, I'm going to be gone for 3 minutes. You can play it now. I was like, hey, guys, we're going to play it now. Yeah, and I played it, and they all had fun.
See?
Perfect.
There are things you can do with this.
See,
if you have the right relationship with the client.
That's the time served that you learn these things. My list at every client is no, which is an absolute, yes, which is obvious, and then no by request, meaning that if no one requests the electric slide, I won't play it. But if people do, I will. And when clients hear that, they go, oh, okay, so if you played it, it means people wanted it. Yes.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, well, no, we're good with that. It's 100%. They come back around and go, okay, I get it. It's because I tell them, your wedding is for you up till the end of dinner. Then you're hosting a party. If you host a party at your house, are you going to tell the DJ, just play Prince all night because everyone will love it? Well, they don't love Prince. They're all leaving early.
John says in the comment section here, in Nick's video, he said he was not gonna play line dances unless bride or groom was requesting them. He wasn't gonna just throw them out there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and
Yeah,
I'm with him in that regard.
Yeah, then we're all on the same page.
Exactly.
I haven't.
It was kind of a clickbait meme he created.
It was probably a clickbait title, and every new guy out there doing this crap, and I say new guy because I've been doing it for frickin' ever since they invented the internet, does that clickbait crap. I try not to. People see the headline, they don't read the story. That's just how the world works. So chances are he said don't play line dances, and what he really said in the video was very different.
Mm-hmm.
So I get that. Yeah, you shouldn't
it's for the
just do
social
things.
media things.
You shouldn't just do things to do them. I don't believe you should do anything just to do it. You shouldn't talk on the mic just to talk on the mic.
No, but
There's
by the
a
way,
reason for it.
if you don't know the right crowd in front of you to drop wobble, then you know what? Stay home.
Yeah, you
Go
probably
back to your 9 to 5 and stay home, because there's a crowd that you drop certain tracks for. I'm sorry. And
Excellent.
you can say I'm wrong in the comments, but the reality is it's only my clients that can judge me.
Yeah.
I'm getting all defiant tonight.
Yeah, good. Well, that's it, gentlemen. We've gone through our 10 for tonight.
Get another 10.
No, I need to get to bed. I'm old and tired, and more things to go on tomorrow. So
Yeah, I've been awake for 22 and a half hours.
Holy
Yeah,
cow.
Brian's going for a world record.
He's going to go get that other that mocha chocolate frappa.
It's in his fridge.
Oh, I got it right here.
12-gallon bottle.
He's got the big bottle right there. So, well, thank you guys for being with us tonight out there. You'll be able to, in 2 weeks from tonight, Brian and Jay and I will be at the Las Vegas area at the South Point with the DJNTV DJ Convention. You can come, hang out. You truthfully buy the exhibit hall pass for $50. You can come and hang out in the chill room, see the exhibit hall, talk in the hallways, and have a good time. Or you can buy the full pass and get into all the DJ seminars, whatever fits you the best. You can go find all that information out at djntv.com/show. There's the link for the tickets, and there's the discount code. I don't know if it even works anymore. It's there. You try it. I didn't even try it today to see if it still works. So
I got a thing where I don't do a lot of these presentations, and I don't say the seminar because that sounds like a lecture, and I hate lectures.
Yeah.
Got to be interactive with my things. I don't do a lot of these. I've done a few of them. But one thing that when I do these things, I do kind of insist on something. I have the highest attended seminar. It's just a thing. If I don't have the highest attended one, then I've wasted my time. So I encourage you all to come.
Luke at DJ Expo. I had more people in my seminar than Laid Back Luke when he gave the keynote.
You did have
I'm
a
just going to throw this out there. If you come by the chill room and you have a question about equipment manufactured from a company, I won't give the name because of certain limitations and laws, but the name rhymes with Pioneer DJ. If you have questions, as an added bonus to thank John for bringing me out, I'll answer those questions.
But he will answer them in code, and
sort of.
So then you'll have to interpret what he's.
I'm not saying that you have to pay for anything, but if you were to bring water, I'm just saying.
Yes, Jay got a haircut, and I'm totally missing the beard. I got to be honest.
It's growing back. It'll be there by chill.
Well, either shave the beard off or have the beard. I was getting used to the Keanu Reeves thing.
Well, that's what I was getting over the weekend, so that was kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie. It's not a hurtful thing to get the memes thrown up with the Photoshop of Keanu.
Yeah, that was a good one. I like that one.
Yeah, that was cool. The Instagram. DJ
Did you see that one, John?
I did not. I'm gonna have to go look for it.
You gotta look. It's Jay's face and Keanu Reeves at the Oscars with his mother. It's hilarious.
Oh, that one I did see. I did see
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that was good.
It's good.
I had to look at that a couple of times.
And please follow it, DJ Brannan on Instagram.
Whatever that means.
Thank you. I want to be famous like everyone else.
Yeah, maybe someday. Got to use more clickbait titles. All right, thank you guys for being with us. We'll be back again next week with another show as we get ready for the DJNTV DJ event coming up here in 2 weeks. Good night, everybody.